So to begin with, I used Microsoft Word, and it was mostly just used for writing the script for the preliminary. I wrote a few essays about the thrillers I'd seen, and they're up on the website if you want to take a look. I wrote the treatments for the project. I wrote up the evaluations at the end, and mostly notes, as you can see here. And I also wrote up from the feedback from the survey that I did, which is all these graphs in this massive document. And next on the list was Microsoft Excel, and this didn't actually serve much purpose aside from how I would store my data. And this data you see here is the data I got from my survey. I didn't actually learn too much about using Microsoft Excel from this, mostly because I know quite a bit about it already, as I do an A-level in IT. So all this did was to mostly help me in my survey analysis. The final tool from Microsoft Office that I used was just PowerPoint, because I had to make my 9 frames analysis, and the setup of PowerPoint made it very easy to deal with that. And the other thing I've actually done it is for a few evaluation questions, as you can see here. The next part of the project that I needed to use a new piece of software for was actually Adobe Audition, because in my piece I use some non-copyrighted music, but in order to make it fit my piece I started to change the tone, as you can see me doing here, and change the pitch. So I started experimenting with Adobe Audition, which I'd never actually worked before, and actually learned quite a good deal about changing audio, changing the tone, making sure it fit the right pace. In particular, you can see here, that first section I highlighted was out of place with the rest of this section because of some editing I made within Adobe Premiere. So here I'm just fixing it so it sounds even and the beat is the same. This final bit you're seeing here is my work with Adobe Premiere, and this was mostly used, I had to use it for a podcast at the beginning, which you can see up on the website. I've used it for the preliminaries, and I've also used it for my project, as you can see in the timeline there. And I'd never actually used Adobe Premiere before, so it was quite a new experience. Within it I learned a great deal about kerning, and how I could make kerning and smaller text on the titles could create a more professional effect, as you can see here, because originally they were quite big. Another thing I learned was about applying a different transition to titles and how that affects the overall presentation. Originally all my titles would fade in, but now I've started to push them in from the side, which makes them appear a lot more effective. And the actual final thing I learned was how to apply the best quality settings to a video project when it's exported. Say when I would export it, originally I would just go whatever, tick all the boxes. I didn't take into any consideration about the screen size that some people use or the quality of my project. So from the start I'd set it to a 1920 by 1080, which is the most common monitor setting. And there I'd render it twice using a VBR2 pass. And just little things like that actually made my project a lot better overall.